slaves were. When women demanded the vote, men weren't ready, but women were. And hearing people may not be ready for us to get a deaf president, but we are ready. And I thought, you know, the people who eat sausages and buy leather furniture and go dog sledding and throw octopuses on the ice during ball games may not be ready for animal rights, but the animals are ready. They've been ready. They are ready, and we had better not let them down. That means the hard thing is that each and every one of us has to do our part. We can't sit in the wings and feel sad. You're either in or you're out. Just choose something, anything, and do it unfailingly and unfalteringly. None of us is alone, even if you think you are in the middle of nowhere. You are not. There is always somewhere, someone there waiting for you to step up to the plate and do something. Anyway, even if you don't find that person, you can do it by yourself. You can, and you must. Because the animals depend on you. They depend on each and every one of us. And most important things have been done because just one person cared. Please, don't ever be afraid of seeming radical. All the best people in history have been radical. And it will always be radical to say or do X or Y unless someone starts saying and doing X and Y. We don't face firing squads, lifetime prison sentences, or the gas chambers for saying what's on our minds and in our hearts. We won't lose our lives if we speak out against animal wrongs wherever we see them. But the animals do lose theirs if we don't, so we must. If you arrived at this conference eating animals, I hope, please, that you will pledge to be veg now. If you arrived veg, please remember that there is a piece of a veal calf in every glass of milk, and it takes 22 hours for a hen to lay an egg kept in constant light. And please go vegan. Back when George Bernard Shaw was being given an award many, many, many years ago, they said, George, it's okay. If you come to the banquet, we promise that it'll all be vegetarian. And he said, I can't imagine anything worse than 3,000 people all chewing celery at the same time. Oh, we've gone beyond that, and today you do not have to be limited to celery or anything else. We have every tasty food the world has to offer right here. We have Ethiopian, Chinese, Thai, Indian, you name it. And then, of course, all the meat taste-alikes, from tofuti cuties to soy sausage crumbles. There is no food taste that you can't find that comes cruelty-free. Cook for others. See this burn? I'm learning to do that still. Deliver tasty dishes to others at work. When you have a gift to give, please consider a recipe book, a cookbook. Teach. Years ago, I only knew one other vegetarian, or one vegetarian. I was waffly, and she would call me up, and she would tell me all about pig batteries and what hens went through and what horror she had seen that day. And afterwards, she would apologize, and she would say, I'm so sorry, I know it's upsetting. And I have said over the years to her, thank you, because often you kept that steak sandwich off my plate. I am so glad that you said what you said. Lobby your council members, work with your legislators if that's your talent. Please find your talents. Meet with your school board if you're a parent, a teacher, or a student. If you haven't read Peter Singer's Animal Liberation, please read it and buy a copy for a friend. Everything we must do, we must pass along. Please read Charles Patterson's Eternal Treblinka and put a copy in a library somewhere. Please don't just spay your own dogs and cats, but go out into a low-income area and knock. Choose a block and go door to door and spay every dog and cat on that block. We can't have a no-kill nation unless we have a no-birth nation. And please don't be depressed. Don't dwell on the big picture, because that's more than any sensitive person can ever endure. Remember all we've achieved in history, all the changes we've made in this very small time of animal rights activity. Even animal welfare is little more than 100 years old. In 1880s, dogs were being drowned in the Hudson River to keep the streets clean. It was the 1920s when drays began the test on rabbits' eyes. In the 1960s, not so long ago, despite pneumonia, Hubert Humphrey got up from his sickbed and went to the Senate floor to argue for the first Humane Slaughter Act, which wasn't a very all-encompassing act, but was the most important historical event. In 1966, after an expose in Life magazine, Congress passed the very first law providing any protection whatsoever to animals in laboratories. In 1981, PETA won the first conviction of an animal experimenter in the history of the United States. In 1988, Jennifer Graham sued her school in California for the right not to dissect. In 2000, PETA won the first conviction ever of a factory farmer for cruelty to animals. In 2001, Senator Robert Byrd addressed the Senate to admonish the nation for the appalling treatment of animals in the meat industry. And just this week, the Food Marketing Institute came out with the pitiful, but still a step forward, first ever guidelines for reducing the suffering of animals on factory farms and in slaughterhouses. The achievement of reforms shows that while we have our heads in the clouds and we have high ideals and we will not back away from them, we have our feet firmly planted in the ground. Reforms move a society, very importantly, from A to B, from B to C, from C to D. It's very hard to take a nation or a world that is built on seeing animals as nothing more than hamburgers, handbags, cheap burglar alarms, tools for research, and move them from A to Z. But as we keep whittling away, we will move them finally from R to Z. There is no hidden agenda. If anybody wonders about, what's this with all these reforms, you can hear us clearly. Our goal is total animal liberation and the day when everyone believes that animals are not ours to eat, not ours to wear, not ours to experiment, and not ours for entertainment or any other exploitive purpose. Please, I add my voices to the others, is let's be kind to one another. No one is anyone else. It will take all sorts of different styles and personalities and tactics to achieve our goal. From the most conservative to the most radical, we are all needed, we are all vital, we are all precious. Let's be glad that each one of us is doing something, anything, to achieve animal liberation. If you'd like to use PETA as a resource, please do. We copyright nothing. We have guides to almost everything, free videos to borrow, free packs to give to friends and co-workers. And please go to our booth. You can leave a message for the March of Dimes. You can tell us your hopes and your dreams, and maybe we can help some people with them and make the world a kinder place. Thank you for all you do for animals. You are all truly precious. And I am so happy to see so many of you with so much energy in the room. Take care of yourselves. You're all we've got.